Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I hope everybody's keeping safe during this COVID time. So while we're at home, I just had the idea that we just cook, you know. As Bobby Flay likes to say, during all of these rough times, we cook. So this is what we're doing today. So today, what do we have? We have a cinnamon dusted French toast with a caramel drizzle, and on top of our French toast we have a Granny Smith strawberry and radish compote. It's a savory compote. I just like to put that disclaimer out there. And on the side, for just a bit of coolness and freshness, we have some mascarpone whipped with some butter and milk, and we folded in some strawberries, and we just garnished it with a little mint leaves. And over here on the side we have some chicken ham strips that we just tossed in the pan with some oil. So we're gonna walk through the steps today of making this brunch, like this brunchish breakfast-ish. It depends. You can do it if you want to try to impress Bae on a holiday or a birthday or anniversary. Wild out, do whatever you need to do, but it's really tasty. We're gonna explore some new flavor combinations today. We're going to learn today, again, as we continue to go along, much about balancing meals, balancing plates, to make sure that everything reads not just as a totally sweet note or totally savory. We have a good mix of savory, acid, and sweet. So that's what we're going to be learning about today. I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. I had fun making it. I want to hear about your breakfast experiences. I want to hear your questions, your concerns, your comments. I want to hear everything. So please leave those in the comments below. Most of you guys probably follow me on Twitter at It's Danzii. You can follow me and DM me and ask me any questions that you might have. And let's enjoy the ride as we explore some breakfast options today. Alright guys, so we're chopping some strawberries finely. We're gonna be using our strawberries in two ways today. We're gonna incorporate it in our mascarpone, and we're also gonna use it as a topping. So you just want to kind of get them as finely as you possibly can. I'm not the best at knife skills, my daddy's an expert in that regard, so I'll take a few lessons from him. Anyways, so as soon as you get that going, you can just separate them, like I said, because we're going to be using them in two different ways. We want the strawberries to really shine through in this dish. I did not pay so much money for them to just be sitting pretty in the dish, not doing anything. So we're going to let the strawberries shine through in two different ways, and so we're going to need them this finely. So we can do that. All right, so let's just get these all sorts of chopped up and we'll move from there. All right guys, so we have our radishes. Right, keep in mind these, so the cost for them varies. Okay, I got these at General Foods. I got about 9 of them for $153. So it just sounds expensive. It's not actually expensive. They have a crispiness to it. It does have a little bitterness, which is what you need. You need an element of freshness, because this French toast is going to have some very heavy elements. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna toss these radishes and the strawberries together. I'm gonna whisk together some balsamic vinegar and olive oil, just so that they can have a nice hint of freshness and some acid to cut through all of that, because our idea is to have balanced dishes. Okay, so you can't just have sweet or go, so you have to have little extraness to balance it out, to make sure that you have sweet, you have savory, you have acid, you have fat, so you have to have those elements in your dish to ensure that you're having a well-balanced incorporated meal. So you're just chopping these up finely. I And then once you've done that, set them aside, and then we'll work on whisking together or balsamic vinegar or olive oil just to toss these in so that it can develop a different flavor profile. Well, not completely different, but just to have some element, like I said, of freshness. All right, so let's just get these chopping. You need about 3. This is 1, so you see 1 gives you quite a bit. And then we're going to just about 2 more. Okay folks, so what we're going to be doing is we're just heating up a pot. We're going to add some balsamic vinegar and some sunflower and olive oil mix. And just for a bit of flavor, I'm going to add some ginger powder to this. Right, give it a good mix. Also chop some Granny Smith apples. I'm going to add that as well. Next up, we're going to add our radishes. And the real point of this is just so that we can have something savory in our dish, you know, because we're gonna be making a caramel sauce. Well, we're not gonna be making a caramel sauce. I already have some caramel sauce pre-made, but I'm just gonna thin it out so that I can use it as a drizzle. So we're gonna have that really sweet caramel sauce, and we're going to also dust our French toast in some cinnamon sugar. And so you need something savory to balance out all of that sweet. And you're going to hear me talk a lot about balance because that's how flavors are supposed to be. So you notice how you know, all of that liquid kind of dried up, and all of these flavors are going to work super well together. All right, and then you just let that cook for a few minutes on very, very low heat. All right guys, so we're separating the egg yolk from the white. Now I've done one before because, hey, let's be honest, I've never done this before a day in my life. Okay, so I got it right. I decided to record how to do it because we want the yolks by themselves, and that's the white. So you get an egg. I don't know if it will work the second time, by the way. You get an egg, you crack the egg, and you don't allow it to come through fully, right? You kind of do that. Put it down, and you take the yolk out, and you kind of do it that way, and boom. So we're gonna be building our custard right now. What's a custard? All right, our custard is just the liquid that we're gonna be soaking our bread in. It's just a fancy word for eggs, milk, and sugar, and I guess we're gonna spice it because we want to elevate our flavors. So it's not just to put the milk and the egg together and yeah, boom, you have French toast. Our cooking channel is about elevating regular food. Put in some granulated sugar. If you have dark sugar, you can use it, but for this purpose, I'm putting granulated sugar. This is 1/8 of a cup, and I'm gonna whisk this together. So you're whisking until it kind of gets nice and incorporated. Okay guys, so I've cracked about 4 eggs. Yeah, so this is 4 eggs cracked, and these are 2 yolks. You notice how thick it kind of still looks, so you're just gonna pour this in. All right, and you can use half and half. I cannot seem to find half and half when I go to the supermarket. Don't know if it's because I'm not really looking most of the times, but we're going to use good old-fashioned Alaska milk powder. Okay, so I've mixed about 3 cups. We're gonna be using 2.5. Let's just pour this in. We should have about half cup left. And let us give this a good whisk. Now we want a nice custard so that our bread, which can be very dry, so our bread can soak well. Alright? But this is boring, if you get what I mean. There's nothing in this. You're just going to have a little sweetness from the sugar that we put in the egg yolk mixture and nothing else. So now it's time for us to add our spices to give us some flavor. So I am using Benjamin's mixed spice. I also have the cinnamon extract, but I'll only be using a mixed spice because the mixed spice contains nutmeg and cinnamon along with cloves. So I'm using just about half of a teaspoon. Okay. Of that. It smells heavenly, guys. And we're gonna put some vanilla in as well. And we're going to use just a teaspoon of vanilla. Vanilla is your friend, don't be afraid of it. It's really great. Okay. Alright, boom. So we have our custard mixture. We can add a pinch of salt as well. Remember how we salt from above. And this smells really, really good. I think I'm gonna add a little bit more of the mixed spice. So I'll add another half a teaspoon. So in total, you should have added just about 1 teaspoon of the mixed spice. And you notice how the color kind of changes. And this is our custard mixture. All right. So now we're gonna put our bread to soak. Remember the bread that we used the other day for our Gouda cheese crostini? It's the same dry bread that we're using for our French toast. It's very dry, okay? I kid you not. I wouldn't recommend using like those weekender breads. It's too soft, and if the custard soaks through it, it kind of gets a little sloppy, and you're starting to get more like bread pudding as opposed to French toast. So let's just line these out. I'm using a baking dish. Why? Because I want to be able to turn them after some time. So you just kind of set them down in here as much as you can. And then you're just gonna give this a nice pour. Okay? I'm gonna pour that over it. So a similar technique when making bread pudding. Alright, and you can just get your hands in there. It's okay, don't be afraid of your kitchen. Get your hands in there and ensure that it's nice and soaked. I'm gonna leave this for about 15 minutes to sit so it can absorb. Then we're gonna turn them, and then we're gonna leave them for another 20 minutes just so that it soaks well, so that when we're about to fry them in our pan, you know, it's nice and moist on the inside and has a nice exterior. All right folks, so here I have some butter, mascarpone, about half cup of milk, and some of our chopped strawberries, a small orange. What are we doing? We're just adding some freshness on the side, some cream to go with our French toast, because we're indulging. Okay, so mascarpone, imagine cream cheese but sweet. Let me just show you guys what it looks like. See? So it's very rich and creamy, almost like cream cheese but not cream cheese. It's much sweeter. Okay, much sweeter than cream cheese. So it's almost as if we're making a strawberry cream to go on the side. So we're gonna take about amount. All right, I'm gonna add that on the side, And then we're gonna add about that much butter. It's about 2 tablespoons. Gonna add about 1/8 of a cup of milk, and we're going to grate some orange zest. Okay, just the zest, not the orange itself. You want some acid, and this is what I mean by balancing of flavors. So you want a bit of acid. Yes, you're getting that acid from the strawberries as well, but you want some more acid because the dish is going to be very, very decadent, and you want to cut through all of that fat and sweetness. And what we're going to do is we're going to whip this until it's nice and creamy. See how it kind of looks clumpy right now? We're just going to whip it until it's nice and creamy. Alright guys, so you see how nice and creamy our mascarpone and milk and butter is? Yeah, so it's supposed to look. Now you see, because I don't have a hand mixer, I whisked it for about 5-6 minutes or so. And this is the consistency you'll get. You don't want it any thicker than this. And also, if you're using a hand mixer, it should take you around 2 minutes on a high speed. You see, nice and creamy. And then all we're gonna do right now is we're gonna fold in some strawberries. Oh, and also guys, the mascarpone cheese, you can get it up General Foods. Yes, I like General Foods very much because of the variety, but you can get it up General Foods. I paid $1,200 for that big old tub, and it lasts a very long time. So yeah, just in case you guys are wondering where you can get it to buy. Whipping, I've added a little bit more zest. I'm going to add some of the juice from the orange, just to give you some more acid. All right, about that. I'm just going to fold that in. Okay folks, so when I finished and I did my little taste test, I never really liked what I tasted. So what I did, I went ahead and I added just about half a teaspoon of powdered sugar or icing sugar, and I added a pinch of salt, and boom, we're good to go. We're out our road. Yeah. So I'm adding just about a teaspoon of butter. I'm also adding some more oil, and we're going to get our French toast going. Okay. You can start by adding a few pieces. Alright. Hear that nice sizzle? That's also the egg kind of giving it that nice crunch to the underside. So you're gonna leave that for about a minute or two, then we're gonna flip it. I'm going to go put some cinnamon and sugar together so that we can dust them in there, and we'll be good to go after that, because the oil is going to allow the cinnamon and sugar to bind it together. So what we're doing now is that we're just flipping them over so that the other side can cook. And in case, you know, they're burning, you can just reduce your heat. Alright, and you let these cook until the other sides are just as crunchy. I use granulated sugar and cinnamon. 1 tablespoon of cinnamon, about 4 or 5 tablespoons of granulated sugar. The ratio should be about 1 to 4. Or 2 to 4, depending on how cinnamony you like your stuff. You just put them in here. You dust it. Alright folks, I have here, I ruined the label, but it's Caribbean Passions chicken ham. Yes, chicken ham is a thing. I like it because it's inexpensive one, and you get that nice salty taste that you want to get from, you know, cured meat. So it's a nice alternative, especially for those people who don't eat pork. You know, I be eating pork, but for those who don't eat pork, chicken ham is a good substitute. It's not as moist as pork would be, and you have to understand, because it is chicken, it's chicken breast that is just cured in brine. So we're going to be using this today. It's Caribbean Passions. You can get it at any grocery store. So we're just going to slice these because we're going to have them on the side as well. Okay. I'm not doing anything extra to my chicken ham pieces. I'm just going to put them down in the pot, allow them to get some color. I put just a little bit of oil in the pot. So I'm just putting down these pieces. This kind of meat is already cooked. So you don't need to do much to it. More than put it in the pot and heat it up. Unless you're kind of trying to maybe put it in a dish or something and you want to change the elements of it. And I guess one day I can do a video where we change the flavor profile of the meat. So you guys can tell me as well, what is your preferred breakfast meat? You know, are you more of a ham person or a bacon person? So you can just flip it now. You notice how it starts to brown up. And then we're going to flip it one more time. See, but you just want to ensure that both sides are kind of crisp enough. And then if you want it a little darker than this, personally, I don't like my chicken ham any darker than this. That's good enough for me. If you want it a little darker, that is okay. Just leave it in the pot for another minute or two. And then once the other side looks like this, I'll remove them and set them down on napkin just to drain out some of the excess fat. That way we're good to go. So before I get started on my caramel sauce, there's something I want to show you guys. This is a rum caramel sauce that I made a couple weeks ago. I will put the link to the recipe below so that you guys can make it. But it's a very, very simple rum caramel sauce. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to thin it out some more so that I can get more of a drizzle and less of a thick, rich caramel sauce. Alright? So let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add a little butter just to help us thin out our sauce. So just about a tablespoon. Okay? Once that melts, we're going to add a little milk. Alright, and your whisk again is gonna become your best friend. So I added about 3.5 tablespoons a minute or two. Once it starts to bubble, you'll know it's reducing. So we're reducing by about a quarter. So guys, you notice how you have those little bubbles forming, and you see how it looks a little thick? You see? So basically that's it reducing down, right? Once you see those little bubbles forming, and remember when we started the volume, it was just about here. So it's reduced down and our sauce is just about finished. So you can just leave it here for, so you see that bubbling thing that it's doing, that's it reducing. And this is all you want, you know, this is what you want your sauce to look like. And that's it, guys. So next thing we're going to do is we're gonna plate and we're going to just enjoy our French toast. Alright guys, so we're at the end of today's video. I hope you guys really, you know, learned something today, as that is what I'm here to do, to teach as well as to, you know, make good food, because that's just what I do. So please leave your comments, leave your reviews, ask your questions. I want to hear them. I want to hear the feedback. I want to know what you guys did different. If you have tips for me, please give me those as well. And also in the comments, if there's anything that you guys would like me to make, please also let me know, and I'll try to make it happen as best as I possibly can. Again, from my kitchen to yours, I hope that we are all cooking during this very difficult time. And don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends. Even if you can't cook, share it with the one little friend that you know that can cook, so they can make it for you. And again, subscribe. Ask a friend to subscribe and tell them to ask their friend to subscribe as well. I want everybody to become comfortable in their kitchens. From my kitchen to yours, bon appetit.